You're allowed to keep a primary residence, and they're happy to tell you you can keep your primary residence. And then it's $2,000 in liquid assets, and you get a vehicle, and you'll still qualify for Medicaid. Now here's one thing the Medicaid office will not tell you. Talking about irrevocable trust, Medicaid planning, long-term care, how does all of that stuff work? But when I sit down with my clients, I say each year, they should be coming in every year just to review stuff, even if it's every other year. Okay, I run through exactly what Mike just told us. Here's what traditional long-term care is, what that insurance is like, and then here's these other options. But then if you don't do that, but there's still this need, now we're talking about Medicaid planning. Now, Medicaid is based on a couple of things. One, there has to be that medical need. At least 2 activities of daily living are needed for help to get to that skilled nursing level of care. And that's really where it is, skilled nursing. There's assisted living under that where it's okay, it's a little bit of help. Medicaid's not paying for that, at least not the program that I'm typically dealing with as a certified Medicaid. Okay, so it's that skilled nursing level, the medical need. Second,
if you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel.
There really isn't an income test for facility care. So how many people here have heard, oh, for Medicaid, for long-term care, oh, you've got too much in income to qualify? Okay. Not in North Carolina. And even the states that do have some kind of income cap, there is a way around that we can do. Basically, when you're talking about long-term care, going to a nursing home, that's that critical care, all your income goes to the facility first and Medicaid picks up the difference. So if you've heard, oh, I have too much income to qualify for Medicaid, that's probably mixing it up with Medicaid paying for care at home. There is an income cap on that type of care, which doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense for me. If you're thinking about it with government, it's like, well, wait a minute. There's a house and they're taking care of the food. Why wouldn't the state want to pay? Well, look, the rules are the rules. Maybe that'll change down the road. For now, for that facility level of care, income doesn't matter. The biggest thing is the asset test. And this is where things are so frustrating for a lot of my clients, particularly when we're doing the Medicaid planning for seniors. They've worked their whole lives, they've built up all of this money, they need this care, they've been paying their taxes in, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to spend everything down to below $2,000. Have you heard of that $2,000 limit? That's just your liquid assets. You're allowed to keep a primary residence, and they're happy to tell you you can keep your primary residence up to around $700,000 in equity. You can't get a $2 million mansion and still qualify. And then it's $2,000 in liquid assets, and you get a vehicle, and you'll still qualify for Medicaid. Now here's one thing the Medicaid office will not tell you. Even if you qualify, you've got your primary residence, that's okay. Yeah, Medicaid's gonna put a lien against the house for everything. So you're not really saving the house if the amount that Medicaid pays out exceeds the value of the house. So you pass on, you're leaving that to your family, oh, they get the house. Yeah, but they get the lien from Medicaid for every dollar that they paid out. Right, so how do we get around this? How do we preserve more assets so that not only are you having money that can take care of the extra things that Medicaid doesn't pay for, or your family member gets this extra money, and yet you're still qualifying for Medicaid. Here's the easiest thing, and I mentioned in the last session, this becomes more of an art form than a science because it really does depend not just on how much you have, but in what you have. And we can convert things. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the rules, but here is the perfect plan ahead, make sure that it happens, save 100% of everything you want. We call it the two trust solution even. though there's technically more than two trusts. There's an irrevocable property trust and an irrevocable family trust. Any real estate, you put into the irrevocable property trust. It's just a little bit different. I'll talk about that. Any liquid assets or other things you want to preserve, you put it into the irrevocable family trust. 5 years after you transfer that stuff in, it's off the books. Medicaid doesn't see it. Or if they see it, they can't care about it. It's as if you never owned it. Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Why don't we just set that up? Well, okay, here's the thing. You can't be the trustee of your own trust. Your spouse can't be the trustee of your own trust. So usually for my senior clients, it's like, are you ready to give up control of everything you own, usually to one of the kids as a trustee, to the point where if you want to get some of your money out, they can say no. Oh no, I don't know if I want to do that. But that's the step that you need to take.